Welcome back. I'm glad you're still with us here on Morning at NTV. It's time for the Kickstarter, and the discussion this morning is on asset freezing and sanctions as a tool in fighting corruption. Of course, this comes on the backdrop of the sanctions issued by the UK against the Speaker of Parliament, Right Honourable Anita Among, and former ministers, that is Agnes Nandutu and Mrs. Kitutu. The fact that these sanctions have been issued at a time they were has also caused a little bit of a storm. There were cases of people saying that the Mabati issue was not sufficient enough to be able to sanction the Speaker, and that the nation has witnessed a series of scandals that ought to warrant sanctions, not only by the UK, but the greater international community. Whether this is the latest in the series of tools that are available to the international community to act in cases where they see corruption as going overboard and something that is not dealt with by the governments that are involved is also something that we can debate. I'm joined on site by gentlemen who will be helping us understand exactly what is in it for the politicians. Is it a new wave that could be able to actually help Uganda's fight against corruption, or is it another grandstanding and posturing move? I have with me the MP for Bubulo East, John Masida. Welcome to the program.
Rastafari is Majesty Emperor Selassie, peace and the love and the unit of Africa, you and I, black man, original man. I want to say asante kabisa, karibuni tena kwa majadiliano hii na tuendelee hivi. Asante kabisa kijana.
Thank you very much. Anderson Burora.
Good morning, Uganda. I hope everyone watching in their own circumstances can manage them.
I was going to describe you as the former RCC, sure, but I deliberately said no and simply said Anderson Burora. But there's a new pressure group that you are leading within the National Resistance Movement. You'll be telling us about that very shortly. I also have with me on my extreme left, Alex Waisom Fumbiro, Deputy Spokesperson of the National Unity Platform. Welcome to the program.
I'm humbled to be here this morning, and I hope I'm an addition to the debate this morning.
No doubt. Let me begin with the Honourable Member of Parliament, who, within the corridors of power, the precincts of Parliament, you've seen and felt the tone that was occasioned upon the House in light of the sanctions that were slapped on the Speaker for alleged corruption. I continue to say alleged because this matter is still in court, especially at Mabati, and the President too is taken aback by the fact that some people can act when this issue is being dealt with by the courts of law within the country. What's your take on this latest development in Uganda's political landscape?
Scapegoating.
By each one of us?
The imperial powers that are. And, you know, when I read Kwame Nkrumah's book, especially when he wrote, I think around 1971, 72, before he died in 1973, about neo-colonialism. I hope that's when it was published. I was a child, I was a youth. Little did I know that I would come to experience this kind of thing. First of all, the Mabati the most important. These are 12,000. Even today we calculated 12,000 Mabati. Just put it at 50,000. How much is that? Certainly, I also recognize my young man that any theft, whether small or big, is a theft. Right. The principle is right.
And how you act on it sets a precedent.
Yeah, if you are acting on it, then you should act across the board. And that is what brings me to the issue. Is it the only thing which has happened in this country? And how many have been sanctioned? I know of even colleague MPs who have investments in London and all over there, and I've visited them. You get me right? And possibly corruptly acquired. I know of almost 60% of investments in the UK and other European cities are from civil servants of Uganda. Have they been sanctioned? Civil servants of Uganda. Okay? Are they sanctioned? And do you know how much? If we are going to get a civil servant earning a salary of U1 special, what would that translate to?
U1 special being, what's the threshold for U1?
I think about 2 points.
You can understand when you say that, when you state the figures.
Yeah.
That is 2.5.
It's about 2.5 or 3 million, around there. Minus taxes, maybe the take home could be below 2 million. I know that. And some of them are like cows, chief administrative officers, and others, let alone these people in the agencies. But people have investments of not billions, but trillions even here in Kampala. Have they been sanctioned? So to me, this one is simply a target, and it has come at the right time for them, the right time to target a few individuals in this country, get to know at their political journey, get to simply scapegoat them. I hope you understand, scapegoating them for purposes of fighting a certain illegal right according to them. If it is a right to them, fine. It's not a right to us. I am a polygamous man. Do I go to UK, America and preach, where I go frequently, to preach polygamy? It's not. But of course they are also very polygamous, because it's simply you marry this one, discard, marry another one. It's some kind of polygamy to me. Some kind of polygamy. So the target of sanctions is completely out of step, completely targeting only 1 or 2 individuals or so, completely.
All right, thank you very much. I'll be coming shortly to Mr. Anderson Brora and Alex Waisam from Bureau, but let's first go to our story that we ran yesterday regarding this particular development in the country, the sanctions, and how that has been received and exactly what is happening. So let's listen in.
In the financial year 2022-2023, government disbursed 39 billion shillings for the procurement of goats to be distributed to the people of Karamoja to transform their lives. However, only 25 billion shillings was used to procure 73,900 goats, and every beneficiary was to get 16 goats. According to the Auditor General's report of the year under review, 107 beneficiaries were sampled together. It was found that they received a paltry 1,310 goats worth 472 million shillings.
The auditor noted that the delivery and distribution of the goats was not coordinated, and the suppliers made deliveries on different dates and months, which could have led to the failure to distribute the required number of goats to each beneficiary.
The goats were not delivered. That's what I'm saying. I am a witness. They delivered one and nowhere, even nothing to some people. Did you deliver? And the size of goats were like these flasks here.
And indeed it is true, the beneficiary was supposed to get 16, but there was an unauthorized occurrence of these district committees waiting from what was guided. So they gave some people 6, others 10, others 11, others 1, but it was not authorized.
Most of the animals have reportedly died, while the rest were rustled, failing government's plan to lift the livelihood of the people in the region.
Fused by the team comprising officers from OPM and district established that the death of some goats was occasioned by lack of shelter, which caused pneumonia during the rainy season. Some goats were stolen, while others were eaten by the beneficiaries.
The people, what works best for them, because people want what makes money for them in their procurement system. They ignore the
Technically, before we procured, we requested for specifications from an institute of Naro, which is called the Nabuin Zonal Agricultural and Research Institute. This is the one which specified the breeds, with understanding that these breeds will conform or comply, would work with the area.
MPs on the Public Accounts Committee are accusing the interdicted Undersecretary in the OPM, Geoffrey Seremba, of causing government a 19 billion shillings financial loss.
What we shall do, we are referring you back to CID. If CID re-examines that their ongoing investigations on the cases for which we have sent you, they will drop the case.
The MPs are also querying the procurement of 35,164 iron sheets for the various regions including Busoga, Teso, Luweero, Bunyoro and northern Uganda under the affirmative action. This includes delays in distribution without any justification.
To explain, how does Bunyoro have 100% implementation and the rest defer totally? You should tell us the reason. Did we change the staff in the OPM?
The MPs are demanding for an audit report from the Auditor General about the 8 billion shillings used to buy iron sheets for the people of Karamoja as affirmative action, which were caught up in a misuse scandal.
You have failed to avail this country a reward report. Now, you're also failing on this iron sheet what? Report. That's a poor record by the Auditor General. Otherwise, you are going for Mukene and you are leaving the Nairo patch.
The Public Accounts Committee also questioned officials from the OPM on why they are continuing to hold on to the 20 billion shillings intended to compensate veterans. Juma Kiria, NTV.
All right, thank you, Juma Kiria, for that report, of course, that is detailing some of the corruption scandals in the country. And as the MP for Bubulo East has opined that there are scandals in Uganda and is wondering why the UK would look at Mabati alone when there is other scandals, including the goat issue. But let me go to Anderson Brora. What do you make of the latest developments? We are looking at how effective sanctions can be in arresting the corruption scourge in this country. Then when actually it is rolled out, we begin to talk about, we introduce some new aspects within the debate, and it kind of negates any effort to fight corruption on its own, and it takes us to another thing of ensuring that either the neo-colonialists, as many people will describe them, do not, again, kind of prevail upon us. Is that something that you find plausible at the time, or we should focus on the fact that there is an attempt to help us fight corruption?
I think there are several things to put into consideration. One, sanctions are as a result of failure to manage issues locally. That is one. Two, we acknowledge there is that attempt of our headmasters to keep on our shoulders for different reasons. And that is not something we can rely on to shy away from our own mistakes. And our own mistakes, once not dealt with, they affect equally others, because we believe it's a global village. What happens here affects Kenya, what happens in Kenya affects Uganda, and the vice versa. We are crying for markets internationally. We are crying to make sure that we finance our budgets. And where we call neo-colonialists or imperialists, the same market we go to, the same market we share. When we don't have medicine, we are going to run to them. And we are going to run to them to find the medicine for which we mismanaged what could have facilitated that medicine. So if we are to talk about fighting corruption, sanctions, let everyone hold their cross. This is a cross for Anita, there is a cross for Ugandans. And I don't think the parliament should mortgage Uganda at its own expense. And then after mortgaging it, at the same time, you're going to come back to us and say, I am mortgaging it on your behalf. Had these sanctions come because the Right Honorable Anita had diverted money either for Mabati or for her own accumulated wealth to build hospitals for Ugandans, had she gone to Bukedia and said, I am building a public hospital, and that's why I'm being sanctioned, I think Ugandans would rally behind her. Had she gone to Bukedia and built a public school, if you look at the hospital in Bukedia, it is worrying. Had she gone in Bukedia to fight for the human rights that she's violating there, I think Ugandans would say no. Despite the sanctions, we are behind you. But let's put that aside. MPs have become the most advertisers of homosexuality in this country. If there is anyone who has advertised homosexuality, it is this parliament. And they have made homosexuality so popular to the extent that if you bring openly a homosexual there and you put Anita there, a homosexual will win Anita. He will win this MP. Because what they are trying to cover up now in the parliament is so horrible that an ordinary Ugandan will say, I would rather go with this one who wants accountability than taking this one who doesn't want accountability. That is the level we are at. We have reached a level that now we see our leaders as promoters of things that are anti-people, that are anti-development. I don't know why Honorable is uncomfortable asking Right Honorable Speaker if she traveled 164 days in a calendar year, and if she was truly paid for that. I don't know why she finds it uncomfortable that when one wakes up to ask for accountability, Parliament is about accountability because it deals with our finances as a country. It is our stopgate that whatever is about to happen or it is going to happen, Parliament,
the ability to look to the future.
Yeah, Parliament appropriates. The Right Honorable Speaker is the custodian that she passes this budget. Wherever it goes, whatever it is going to do, she ought to know that in Ibuke they would not appropriate iron sheets. She had the responsibility to ask the giver, why are you giving me these iron sheets? Where have you got them? Because we did not appropriate them. She ought to know that we appropriated for Karamoja, Luwero Triangle, and other devastated areas. Also where calamity comes. We have not had calamity in Ibukedia. We have not had calamity anywhere. Where these iron sheets went, like Kayunga and others.
But there are continuing programs by the government to intervene.
Yeah, I am saying from the inception, before you claim that you are being fought, are you clean? Can you come clean? Can you make sure that there is an effective and efficient accountability in this country? If you are in that scandal, if you are caught, if you've been found in note 1, in note 2, in note 3, in note 4, in note 5, what does it reveal to you? And as a Parliament, what makes you think that now you have the audacity to sit and choose what to eat and to not? To sit and say we are going to borrow this and misuse this? Because you see what some of us actually think, that we have now our own right now because we have lost trust in institutions that are going to maybe hold us together. Is that
quickly? Yes.
People have chosen to sit and agree how to share the budget of Uganda. And one day, if you give me time, I will explain to you why and how the budget of Uganda is in hands that are not more than 1,000.
All right.
The budget, the entire budget that we are going, leave alone the salary of Brother Honorable knows here, if you asked him, how much is the salary of the Speaker?
I know.
How much? Because this is public information.
Not at liberty.
No, this is
for now.
This is public information.
You can ask me because I'm comfortable.
This is not a private issue.
I'm comfortable to reveal mine.
Excuse me,
I am comfortable to reveal mine.
Excuse me, gentlemen. I want you to appreciate the fact that we have to contextualize this discussion. I understand your activism and
No,
where
this
it's
is
coming
not
from.
about activism.
But in contextualizing this particular discussion, I do understand that the actions of the speaker, or her inactions rather, have led to where we are, the issuing of sanctions. But in light of that, how do we move forward as a country? Do sanctions in this particular state offer us any one opportunity to begin addressing corruption?
Yeah, I think they do.
Because that's a fundamental question.
One, they remind us of our duty to clean ourselves, to come clean. That is one. Two, they help us maybe to say, so I don't know where these people are running to. Now they help us that when you mismanage your home, you cannot go anywhere. Because here you are running away, you are taking away your family, you are leaving others for who? So educate your children also here. When you get sick, that's where you're going to run to, because you find comfort that you have a home there, you have a family there, and now even if you get sick, you don't care what is happening in Morago. You don't care what is taking place in health centers.
All right.
So I think they will help us to inform, but also we want now to drive at is that can we also look for other ministers, other civil servants who have invested there? To what effect is it also affecting
The Honorable
us?
spoke about the fact that civil servants who are earning, you said U1 special,
which is about 2.5
million own assets in the UK.
Yeah, how?
Alex Waisomfumbiro, the National Unity Platform has shown the way it handled the issue of one of the top honchos in the party receiving a service award. The amount of force that the National Unity Platform went down with on Mpuga is one that is also debatable. The tone and the timing, it's fighting corruption, no doubt. If you were in power and were the government that's running the administration of this state, you would of course welcome sanctions against any one official who is named and seen to be corrupt, wouldn't you?
Of course. But to first of all put it in the larger perspective, what are sanctions? Sanctions are unstoppable to a country, a group of people, or an individual by another
entity, usually a country,
usually a more superior country. But what is important is that there must be connectivity.
Some people want you to use the word powerful, maybe. There are those who don't agree that any one person is superior than the other.
Well, if I am running to a country to beg, if I am running to a country to seek assistance in my day-to-day living, then that country is superior, and others will like it or deny it. But our budget, half of our budget is financed by those countries that they call imperialists. Until we have the economic independence that must be organized by our not glutton appetite for public funds, and have a constrained budget according to the resources that we have, that will be different. So sanctions are a deterrent. In this, Anita is being deterred from continuing with the actions of stealing from the public. That is number one. Number two, she's being deterred from enjoying comfort of stealing from Ugandans and then investing in the UK, and then finding luxury in the UK. The person you're calling imperialist, if you read General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's letter, it stated that as he was leaving office, he got a call from the British High Commission that compelled him to wait in Nakasero, not in Entebbe, to receive a very important message hours to the declaration of these sanctions. Now, I know the NRA has mastered propaganda against the NUP. they would have called it forged, they would have named it otherwise, but this was government. Now, as a consultant now of international diplomacy and protocol, I can tell you that a British High Commissioner enjoys the full diplomatic protocols of the Prime Minister of England and the country of England. And the immunity follows as suit. So when the ambassador delivered the message to General Museveni, the message was clear that they were to sanction 2 ministers over the Mabati scandal, and 2, they were to sanction the speaker, the mafia speaker, Anita Among. They were to sanction her for the Mabati scandal, but also, and this is General Museveni's letter, serious corruption. Now, I believe there is some veiling of what serious corruption is entailed, because this information came before the letter, that was written to the Attorney General, and after the public had got wind of this information, to show that General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni had actually had prior engagement with the British High Commission, and this is UK per se as a country. Now, the economic sanctions, these sanctions were very exact and targeting. They were not to Uganda, Honorable. They were to Anita Among. Why? She enjoys, and you have not dismissed this, she enjoys to be a benefit of being a landlord in the UK. 2, she has children studying in the UK. Now, these corruption apologists for a very long time have been fronting NUP as an agent of foreign interest. They are the agents of foreign interest because they are stealing from Ugandans and investing in foreign countries. We have now got them pants down. They can no longer run away from that. So these were very important sanctions because they are deterrent from their archaic, backward behavior. And 2, now you have brought that letter, and I think I'll reply to it as well as I finalize my submissions on this. Now, if you look at the targets of what the British High Commission is saying, because this comes from international law. We are members of many treaties that bar us from this behavior of corruption by very powerful individuals. And these sanctions are very clear. What makes them very clear? They are an estoppel to people with power, countries with power over others, to do things with impunity. Because Anita Among, I mean, the reason why Brora is not RCC today is because of Anita Among. Impunity. Total disregard of rule of law. Journalists were picked. There's a Radio 1 journalist who was picked because of reporting about this corruption. Jude Bukenya. Dehumanized. Hussein Mumbia, who is now in jail, is in jail because of Anita Among. Total abuse of human rights. Now, when they put all that together, then they can come up with a punitive process that will buy you. And now this is international law. It is international law. This is acceptable international law. And the marking word is that sanctions are imposed. It is an imposition, because I have heard people who have boasted of being lawyers that why does now Britain involve itself in Ugandan affairs? No. You are stealing Anita Among and investing in their country. You are borrowing from their country. You hosted, because these sanctions, it's laughable when he talks about them being imperialist. Uganda hosted the Speakers Commonwealth Conference. So their standards of behavior
members of the Commonwealth, because Uganda is a member of the Commonwealth. And at the sitting of that function, the Mafia Speaker had attained the official name of chairperson of the Commonwealth Speakers Association, which is now not acceptable. Therefore, one, what do they help us, these sanctions? Very quickly. Financially, she is not supposed to transact in any commercial bank that is affiliated to operate in the UK. Okay? On addition, I am yet to affirm, but it came from the I saw the message coming from the Nile Post. There's that of the Arabs, the UAE. Of course, there's a lot of PR management from the office of the Speaker on the hand that is touching her bad mannerism of stealing from public coffers. So she is not now also entitled to own property. In the UK, all countries working with the UK. Now, in this, you'll name Commonwealth to give it to you in your perspective. She's not to participate in any activity that is organized by the UK. Now, we are. You will accept we are a former British protectorate. And even the wig she puts on as she crumbles with the word imperialism in Parliament, the dressing, the parliamentary system, our governance system, our democracy is a true reflection of the UK democracy. We have not changed from that.
Not at all.
So it is important that now if you are operating like them, and you are behaving obtuse, then they must have their arm. That is acceptable international behavior. She is not the first.
Right.
It is to stop her from the bad mannerism, because it checks you. It checks countries to change the trend they have taken to a different particular trend.
Allow me to interest myself in a statement that you made that the NRM administration, I always love to refer to it as an administration because the government is involves a lot more other people, including Parliament and the judiciary. They've been called pants down, as you say. But hasn't the UK also been called pants down by the Ugandan taxpayer if they see a lot of justification and reason to sanction the Speaker on account of the Mabati, but do not act at any other point? This is something you talked about earlier, the inability to zero in on other corruption incidents to be able to act. So I don't want to go into a debate where we put the UK on the spot, because maybe the UK has used other measures outside of sanctions that haven't been effectively embraced by the government here. The issue of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni standing and saying that the UK ought to have given this time because this is a matter that is under being heard by the courts of law. The president understands international law. This is not, like he says, this is an imposition. You know, it's not a judicial measure.
It's not a process.
It's not a process. I do not know whether it's a case of posturing. I don't want to accuse the president of posturing, but he well understood this issue, the handling of it. Should he require the UK, the United States, or any other player to first acclimatize itself with the judicial system in Uganda before they can pronounce themselves on anything? Is that something the president can do?
They should, and they respect the law and the law of the land. And that's the number one.
Wouldn't that
Just
be,
like we would
wouldn't that be a tragic failure of understanding the charters and other agreements that we've gone into?
And so the charters can overtake our laws around here, especially when we are in the processes. Just a moment, because we listen to you talk. My point of argument, let us not have personal vendetta in this. Let us look at the war process holistically for this country and in terms of the international community. The so-called international community, which he has put it right, the Commonwealth. I don't know whether we have common poverty as well, because we belong to the common poverty.
If you've read the Lords of Poverty, that
common poverty,
you will understand.
Common poverty.
You spent 100 billion.
I'm not part of this. I'm one
What
person.
Is that you're sharing?
No, I just want to confide it to you. Read it without mentioning names as to whether that such an MP is not corrupt, traveling in a few days and accumulating all that without mentioning names. But if you think I can do so because I've ever done so, I don't want anybody else to do it. I can do it because this is a fellow member of parliament. And from opposition, now, that is not the topic. That's not the way.
No, Honorable.
Please, just allow me.
It is important.
Just allow me. We have to expose, like I said, in a corrupt scandal.
You are always involved in the throes of debate in parliament. Yes. Can you give him a rejoinder and don't use more than 60 seconds?
Yes. First of all, Honorable, I want to compel you. In fact, not to compel you. I want to beg you, please.
Yes, or demand as well.
Yes. Do not condescend on the corrupt.
No.
So, do not even feel heavy-hearted to help this country on this morning show. And we expose an individual who is at the expense of the people suffering in Mulago Cancer Institute, of the people suffering in your hospital. Let me tell you, people trek from your constituency to Kampala Emergency here in Mulago, which has not been worked.
I have no health center in the whole of my district.
Now, for you to sit here with the public knowledge, in fact, you are an accomplice, you are aiding and abetting criminality by heeding to information and refusing to tell it to the country. Why we are here and giving you names is because these names we have been saying often, and what we have said has led us to these sanctions. So it should not be exciting that you have an investigation, you have information, and you only want to share it with a journalist who you don't want to give us the source.
In confidence, I can give you.
Not in confidence. This is public. This is what we are saying. This is not money in privacy. This is public fund.
Please do. The rejoinder is
that is done. What I wanted to tell you.
I need to shift to the
and then the issue of Mabati, Uganda is why it is not even a small issue is because it is the Mabati issue. Uganda has gives out the Mabati. Government has a policy to give out the Mabati. So we are a Mabati country. So you cannot say it is a small issue.
All right. Complete the submission.
Let me, what he has just ended up with in his rejoinder, I and him come from the east. And he knows the Karamoja matter since independence, maybe before and during and even immediately after the post-independence days. He knows that many successive governments have failed our brothers and the sisters in Karamoja. Rather, they couldn't address these issues there. Now, our constitution, the constitution we pride in, all parts of Uganda must develop at the same rate.
At the same rate, yeah.
If possible. And these are our aspirations. These are our objectives. Let alone the chapters and whatever that is law for litigative purposes. But what are the objectives of this country? They are enshrined in our constitution. 29 of them. And the Karamoja, we can't have a talk today in this digital age where we say we will not wait for Karamoja. We must, no, that's not the case. We must all move together. I condemn in the strongest terms whoever did the Mabati thing. But it was even worse with the gods. Let me tell you a scenario. My own investigation.
So condemn the speaker.
Let me tell you the scenario, please. That is personal vendetta. If you have issues with Anita, corruption in this country
was she involved?
And we cannot only get one person but and think she's more corrupt than the others.
So she's one of them.
Now, please give me time to explain. Now, over Karamoja the goats, let me tell you.
All right.
Who is the major person here? In my own bedroom, my own backyard. These two people sanctioned now come from my own backyard, my bedroom. And I know, I've never supported them. Never. And I complain. Do you know the goats? Let me repeat it to public today. They would get to this community, about 100 goats. Give them the members around. A goat valued at millions of money. Then, next day they come with 50,000, buy the same goats and take to the other community. I have that kind of evidence. Actually, I could even divulge it to CID if they so wish with me. I am aware. So actually, Babati is even better. The goat scandal was the worst of all. It was the worst. But that apart, my dear moderator.
Quickly, I have a question that the gentleman must help us address it.
Yeah, because I've been interrupted with. And,
all right.
Yeah, I want to say this. Let us look at the bigger picture of corruption, whether in this country or elsewhere. You see that? But if we are going to narrow it to an individual, then I will take it pure as personal vendetta.
There is something that we must appreciate. Yes. The fact that the tendency for us to seek to look at the bigger picture effectively stifles our ability to deal with anything that could compound the whole issue after some time. And that is why I want to ask the former RSCC.
Can I complete with this?
Please do.
In any way, I don't condone any form of corruption, whether small or big. But I wouldn't also wish to point out singly
your friend.
Not my friend.
Is she not your friend?
Alex, she's more friend to me
Alex
than these
Bagisu. Let's avoid that.
I mean, is she more friends to me than the Bagisu girls? So that's not the case. So to me, this issue of, and I keep repeating, personal vendetta. It is not right. It's not right. I've given you statistics. The people who hold 60% of properties in the UK, I have evidence. Civil servants of Uganda, where they get that money? With 2.5 million, where they get? Now, about 80% of buildings raised in Kampala here are by civil servants.
On national television.
Where did they get? I'm saying it here.
On
now,
this.
Today, in the opposition, these people here.
Yes.
I've just joined the parliament.
Please do.
Yeah, now.
Reveal.
I want to reveal to them. Where would an MP like me earning 30 million from Eastern raise a building of about 10 or 20 billion here in Kampala? And I will show credit to that you can get loans and whatever. The best a bank can give you when you are entering parliament is about 800 million. Where? But I know of colleagues, especially from their fold,
within the National Unity Platform.
Yes, I said it here. I apologized in Parliament. It has never gone out of my heart.
Now,
and they know themselves.
Honorable, I appreciate the tone, but I also appreciate the fact that there is information that you need to release and reveal that you might not reveal on MorningAtNTV. So we want to task and challenge the Honorable MP to either work within the workings of Parliament and move a motion to reveal who these people are, so that the nation can have a look at the civil servants. Because if Chris Higenyi is earning 50,000 Uganda shillings a day and then is able to put up a building, then it means there is another source of income. All right. Let me come to the former RSCC. Have you had time to interface with the president at a personal level and have a conversation? We've been told how advisors and some people who work under him rarely meet him. Did you ever have a chance to talk to the president one-on-one?
As of recent? Or
no, anytime.
Yeah, it has happened before.
When you speak to him, who is the man when it comes to fighting corruption? Because right now, the sanctions have given him another tool to fight corruption, something that he has consistently spoken of and seemed to fail at. He has a tendency of addressing the nation on national events and then postures as how the days of the corrupt are done. And then you're wondering, it is this, he said it last year, said it on another set of events, and then he's saying it again. When you sit with him, what is his individual stance on corruption?
Well, I don't think I've had an opportunity to sit him to discuss about corruption. And I would be a very, very big liar if I said I've had a discussion with him about that. We've talked about different things.
You've talked about,
but not about
building,
about the issue of corruption. So
before you continue, the reason I'm really intent on this is that he has also come out and said some of the thieves are our people. That phrase is very common. They are our people.
Actually, that was
so
my
the IGG
point.
should not go hard on them because they lead to capital flight.
That is my point. You see, my brother here, Honorable, it's not until we sit and abuse our own
Yeah, true.
that we can take on the war.
I concur with
Should you
about
employ
corruption.
the word abuse?
Yeah, I think it's the right word.
Or insult.
If not fight.
You've reached a point as a Ugandan
if not fight,
where fighting and abusing is the only option that you have.
It's the only option we have. That is one. Two, until we realize that working for communities is better than enriching individuals or ourselves, it's only when Uganda can develop. Three, until we realize that it's not about us, when we hold positions of leadership, when you hold positions of public leadership, you have trust. People have entrusted you to lead them from point A to another point, not to take you as an individual. What he's talking about is true. When you look at our economy here, actually we are running a pseudo economy, surviving on money that is supposed to facilitate the entire superstructure of this country. Our economic base is pseudo. If I may say, it is pseudo. We are lacking jobs. Why? Because we cannot invest in projects or in production. We are investing in consumables, and that is led by the political class. Now, the problem we have is one, we have built classes amongst ourselves, and the struggles now. Yesterday, there is a senior party official who invited me. He was trying to counsel me and tell me, don't go up.
Do not create another party.
So I was telling him now, but you have educated your children from the UK, from the US, from Switzerland, from everywhere. And after that education, they come back. We share bars. We share churches. We share the same public spaces. With people you have deliberately failed because you are trying to make sure that you are facilitating your own at the expense of the taxpayer. Now these people, you are going to invest in her or him highly. He will come back here, and the person you failed will kill him or her with the Katayimbwa, iron bar. Looking for what? Either a phone of 1 million to go and sell at 50,000 to survive. At work, I always argued, every day we strive to clean communities, to curb crime. You arrest someone, petty thieves, these ones of who are idle and disorderly.
Who are in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Who are in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe also at the right time. But doesn't it feel, don't I feel guilty that I am going to judges driving in a one way, to rush to court, to try an idle and disorderly person or a hawker? Does it feel like the judge is doing the right thing? Does it feel like police is bypassing someone's property whom we suspect it is from stolen money to go and arrest someone who has nothing to do? There are things we need to put into perspective, that corruption inadvertently affects the entire country in one way or the other. We need to understand that actually without efficiency in leadership, we fail development, we remain underdeveloped. You can have these skyscrapers going in spaces. You can have guzzlers on the road, but that does not reflect the entire national picture. And until we now say appropriation, why do we have to run ministries that are isolated? Ministry A is planning independent from Ministry B. Minister of cases, UNRWA will work on the road. In the morning, KCC will come and National Water will come and pass through and cut the same road. In the evening, another telecom company will come also cut another piece. Why are we doing this? Why are we damaging our country?
As the savior.
Lastly,
if quickly we have to go for break. Yeah.
If Honorable Parliament, which is now where people send their own. Yes, we agree and we are sorry that we might have sent wrong people. to the right place. But we want to urge you, we want to ask you that even if you are wrong, we sent a wrong person to the right place, find room within yourself to make yourself right. MPs, find yourselves, find some space within you. We are sorry we made a mistake. We are sorry you were in the wrong place. We are sorry we thought you are going to represent.
The whole country
yes,
made a mistake.
we made a mistake. We are sorry we thought you would go maybe and do some sort of advocacy for our areas. We are sorry. But find it within yourselves to feel for where you come from. It is not proper for a leader to survive on handouts of Kavera Waraji. That's where your basis of elections come from. And you survive an entire community on that. There is an MP who comes from the West. He would go and tell the constituents, Muriyo, Turiyo, Ahimba Siga, Yomba Sanga, literally meaning that where I leave you is where I find you. This time it came that people had shifted. People had gone and it was fire all over, shooting all over. Why? People have shifted. So let's feel like at this particular moment we cannot keep mortgaging our constituencies that at an opportune time I will come and buy beer and buy waraji and distribute knickers, I distribute bars of soap, I distribute sugar, and I have an election to go and spend 5 years.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to have to go for a break right now. I wish I had that song by Fela Kuti, Sorry, Sorry Africa, or Sorry, Sorry, or then perhaps we could, sorry. Yeah, but anyway, there's a question you have for Mr. Anderson Buroda, isn't it? You looked so intently as he explained some things, but I also love to know where the road to Damascus changed for you. As when you were serving as RCC, there were times when you spoke and we wondered where your soul is. And then there was a fundamental shift in thinking and in belief, especially in the politics of the day, to the extent that anybody who saw you more than a year ago listens to you right now. Those are two different gentlemen.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And actually my ordeal did not start yesterday with Anita. I have about 6 caution letters from different ministers. 6. So don't think it started with Anita. If you want to wind it back, that is in about 2 years. That is 1 or 2. I have not been on any particular day being on the side of individuals. I've been fighting them in Nakawa. I can give you so many scenarios. Some you don't know. Some are internal. I have had always honest internal issues. But you see where you have a responsibility to serve or even to do, there are certain things sometimes. So at this particular moment, maybe it is at a time whereby no, I have had 6 caution letters and I have complied. Should I continue like this? Maybe no, it's enough. I can have my mind, I can have my position on public and national matters. I can have also an opinion on how my party should run. I have also a right to abuse or fight, or even talk and discuss. All of those rights are within enshrined in my rights. And I also, about a few seconds, I don't think it is wrong to talk about something wrong.
It is not.
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Not. Yeah.
So if I talk about something wrong, it doesn't mean that there is a shift of mind.
No, the reason I say that
I think it is an importance that actually you ask me to advocate and actually maybe have a few motivate them that we are so many that are talking about what is wrong, and it is healthy.
The tone and the incidence of talk about what is wrong is what completely topples me, because until something happens to an individual at individual level is when that fundamental shift happens.
But you ought to have followed maybe that I had an opportunity. Maybe I had an opportunity. I was not pushed. I had an opportunity. There were internal discussions. I took a deliberate action. I took a deliberate decision.
1 second.
It was never a push.
It
was never that
I want you two
leave
gentlemen
office.
to submit on that man's political transformation.
The transformation is good. And I would call it my young cadre is going through...
Young cadre.
Yes.
Okay.
A transformative trend in life. And his right, inalienable rights must be upheld by him. The way he feels so. Only that I should caution him about a lot of elitism too. If you are working with an establishment, then the collective responsibility comes in.
On what is good, not what is bad.
While he was under collective responsibility.
I don't think, I didn't work for the parliament, I worked for the executive.
Yeah, of course.
So there is nothing like collective responsibility.
You are an extension of the executive.
And my job, for your information, is to expose.
So let me finish. Lastly, we are all blamed for where we are. For example, he has said, you parliamentarians, but have you gotten the Rastaman in any scandal in parliament?
No.
No.
I am seeing a scandal in being an accomplice.
I have to accept
you are an accomplice.
The legislature, an accomplice in which way, my dear? If there is anything,
because
it is even me who has spoken openly, but because I touched the opposition side, and just right
By
now,
the way, when he said there are people who are building skyscrapers in the opposition, you went very uncharacteristically silent.
No,
are you building a skyscraper?
Let me warn you. On another media, I said this. I had to apologize.
I can tell you, I have told,
and he knows it.
I have told him,
all right,
publicly. He would have done us a good service to tell the country now who those people are, such that they are investigated, and then you begin grappling with the iron hand of NUP on corruption, because you know how high-handed we are and how some characters have been handled. That he was running
this is FDC.
No.
Now,
secondly, I'm the moderator. Let me have access to information.
You are free to do that.
Secondly, and I want also to thank you for accepting that social media is a tool of information, because your speaker has occasionally double standardized herself on this. But now that you also have the same imprint, like the one that indicted her for corruption of extending her money from $1,000 to $4,000, the one that had indicted her $5,000, that indicted her, because the actions we are talking about are individual. She took the Mabati as an individual. He
wants to say that
that is collective responsibility. She awarded 1.7 billion as an individual, not as a commission, as an individual, in accordance to the letter of General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, in reference to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance. When we were here telling you that she had broken the leadership code, when we were telling you that this was corruption, many of you, including you said that we were only on a fishing expedition, but now you have discovered that we are not only on a fishing expedition, but we are actually weeding out
the one says you're misquoting him.
No, I was with him.
I never said that to you.
So can you confirm today to the country that Anita is corrupt?
I want to say,
yes, can you confirm to the country that she is corrupt?
Paul says it.
Lastly, wait a minute.
Allow my interjection. I allowed you to do so.
Let me finish. I wanted to educate my elder brother, Honorable,
very quickly,
from the
we are running out
Eastern.
of time.
Never to say that the British do not know our judicial system.
Oh my God.
Our judicial system.
It is common England law.
Is common England law. So for any leader, for anybody reigning over this nation, to say that they are not accustomed to our processes, when we are copycats of their process, because the two systems of judicial, the two judicial systems, one of the Americans that entails
the jury system is not what we have chosen. We have chosen one that is ours, the one of the common law. It is not Sharia where they are going to stone people after being sentenced. So for one to say that they were acting out of naivety, that is wrong, and their intervention was international, not local. It does not estoppel the local processes of arresting Anita, asking her to resign, putting her behind bars, and seeking for redress of the monies. Of course, she will deny the property. Why?
Thank you,
because
Alex.
this property is accrued from robbery.
Thank you very much for that submission. Since I'm out of time, it's important that I ask for a very, very last word from Honorable Musida. Also include whether you intend to respond to the revealing of all the persons on whose names you have evidence of ownership of properties that are in
and when
or not in line with their incomes, either as public servants or members of parliament. We need you to do that, and you are on national television.
At the risk of my life, I want to say and pledge today, I will bring this to the light of every Ugandan.
Do we have a timeline to that?
What type of property we own here and outside this country? Some of them in our neighboring country, Kenya or Rwanda. I will do that. That's number one. Number two,
14th day of May. That has
today.
been
I've said it.
How much
and I will bring
give you
out.
All right.
So that, and all by the way,
for us, we are broadcasters. We are capturing this live and storing it.
You store that. Secondly, in UK, which has changed names many times, Britain, England, whatnot like that, would have sanctioned the Prime Minister of Israel for the annihilation, full, open murder of humanity. We don't speak about this. 3, it is good to have agents here. It is okay. It is their freedom, given the English law we have, for the imperialists to have their agents. The common good of this country, the common good of the black man will not be saved by the white man. 4thly, it is
cannot
good
be inherited by our own black men.
Yes, but if your Babylon is an agent, then so be it. If you are an agent, some of us are purely African.
Hussein Mumia is being tortured.
Let's not extend it. Let's not extend it. I'm out of time.
I wish to say that we must tackle the issue of corruption holistically in this country, and I know it exists,
starting from the third arm of government.
All right, Honorable John Musida, MP for Bumulo East. Thank you for that submission. Thank you.
While still in opposition,
Genom 7 has written about her.
Anderson Broda, many thanks for making it on MorningAtNTV.
UK has sanctioned her. Then you're blaming me.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to let go. My colleague Stephen Mbide is standing by, and he will be updating us very shortly on exactly what is happening in Luzira. There were reports that Lake Victoria is angry and of course reclaiming much of the spaces that have been taken from it. That is also a call to action, because climate change and everything that happens with it is the existential threat of our time. He'll be coming to us shortly after this break. Stay with us.